In today's video, we're talking about suspension tuning. That's right, I'm opening up that can of worms. Hey folks, and welcome to the video. So today we're going to talk about tuning the suspension on your Element ECTO. This is stuff that you can do for absolutely free, doesn't cost you a penny. It's all part and parcel of the Ecto chassis. So all of those kind of little points of adjustment that you can make on the chassis with your suspension to try and improve things. Full disclosure, I obviously haven't got stock shocks on here. These are the shocks that came out of my Element Enduro builder's kit that I used to build my G-Speed chassis. However, they are, apart from the fact that they're metal, exactly the same as the stock shocks that come with the Ecto. They're great, you know, they're really nice. Element shocks are really smooth for what they are. Very impressed with them. So let's get straight into the changes we've made. And we'll show you as best we can some nice close-ups so that you can see what we've done. So the first thing I've done with mine is adjust the position of the top mount of the shocks. So on the shock towers there are these very useful metal inserts that have in total 5 different positions for the shock mounting. So what I've done, super simple, moved my shock tops to the very top back position on the front towers. So that just brings the front end down a little bit. It does introduce a little bit of body rub under, you know, full flex, but it's not too bad and it doesn't seem to hang it up too much. On the rear towers, it's slightly different. What you need to do really here is to remove the top mount and spin the shock inserts, or the mount inserts, through 180 degrees, because as standard the top mount is pointing at the back of the vehicle, so you want to swap it so that the top mount is at the front of the vehicle. That means you're just laying the shocks down a little bit more, giving it a bit more angle, which again just makes them a little bit more compliant and a little bit softer. So that's the first thing that I did. It's a super simple change, really easy, and it does help. It lowers the centre of gravity of the body a little bit. So the second thing I changed was the rear mounting position. So as you can see on these rear trailing arms, there are 2 shock mounting positions. By a standard they come in the forward position. It's just a simple case of undoing the screw, mounting them into the rear position, and again that just gives you that little bit more laid down angle. It does mean that the back is slightly lower than the front, but I think that looks pretty cool, and it kind of gives it that more race truck look. And actually that's it. That's all the shock tuning I've done so far. I haven't changed the oil. This is still the stock oil, but the differences have been fantastic. It really does climb extremely well, especially for a ready-to-run truck. And the other thing that you can do, I haven't done this yet, so I can't testify to it, but I've seen a few options for doing this, and that is to lower the mount position of the trailing arm so it sits below the axle. Now the way you do that is the trailing arm mount that's here attached to the axle, you can just unscrew that and flip it around through 180 degrees. I'll put a link in the description to a video by Big Sung Hobbies. He shows you how to do that. I haven't tried it yet, but it does look quite interesting, so I might give that a go. As you can see, that does lower the body a little bit. If you move those rear trailing arms, that lowers it even further to about here. So it's quite soft, it's quite a compliant setup, and it runs really well. It's super capable, very impressed with it. So while we're here, I'm going to talk about a couple of other things, a couple of other changes that I've made recently. As you can see, I've added a Kinetic winch. Now it was my intention to put a servo winch in here, but I don't do any comp stuff at the moment. There isn't that much comp around in the UK, or at least not that I've seen so far. There's a few big ones, but I haven't seen many kind of small local ones or anything like that. So comping is probably not something I'm going to get into anytime soon. But I like the way these look with these on here. I think they do give them that really nice comp look. And actually they are quite effective. I was out at the weekend and was using the Kinetic winch. It doesn't kind of lift the truck, it won't really necessarily take the weight, but what it tends to do is when it's under tension, it just holds the front end down and gives it some traction, and you can get up some fairly incredible climbs as a result. Now these are super cheap. I'll put a link in the description to the guy on Facebook that I got these from in the UK. If you're in America or anywhere else in the world, I'm sure there are local people to you that can do this, or you could do it yourself. I think this was about £5, so it's next to nothing. It's really, really cheap. And the other thing I want to just have a quick talk about is the look. So I've started to make some changes to the look of the truck. I was never overly enamoured by the super banana yellow. So what I have done for that is I have backed the yellow with some black. And what that did was kind of dull it down, but also because the paint was so thin, which I think I mentioned in my first video, there are parts of it where you know, the paint, the black is really showing through, and it really kind of ages the truck down, which is great, and it just takes away that kind of toy look. What I also did as well, kind of removed all the accessories off the back, and I have sprayed the outside of the body in black around the pickup bed, and again I think that just kind of makes it look a little bit more I don't know, a little bit more scale and a little bit less toy-like. And I also, because I was kind of got a bit carried away with the paint, painted the sort of nose radiator grille surround. So, you know, when we're talking about free, it's not free, but it's very, very cheap upgrades and changes you can make to your truck, definitely think about kind of doing some cosmetic stuff. A can of paint, can of Tamiya black, it's like it's about £5, which is really not that much money in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so there you have it. There's a few upgrades and tweaks you can make to your Element ECTO for little or no money. The suspension tuning for absolutely zero cost, definitely worth doing. It really does make an improvement with the way that the vehicle handles, drives much better in terms of climbing ability. I would absolutely recommend doing those. The other bits, the cosmetic bits, entirely up to you really if you want to spend that extra few quid, but like I say, you know, £5 each for that Kinetic winch and the paint. You know, other tweaks and changes you can make, there are a few for sure. Definitely look at improving the tyres and the wheels. I'll put a video just here for doing that, and also if you just want to know a little bit more about the Ecto in general, I will put the playlist here for that. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these videos. Next week we are going brushless, so stay tuned for that. Thanks very much.